Hi and welcome to Knitting Blooms. This is episode 25 and it's October 15th and this is take 2. I don't know what is going on with iMovie today, but it would not import this video. I mean, I'm recording on the Flip and I'm importing into iMovie and I just don't know what's going on. So we might have a little bit of splicing because half of it got uploaded, half of it didn't. I'm doing some weird thing now to see what is going on. Oh, Sammy, you're gonna knock. What is going on with iMovie? I'm trying something else. So we're gonna see what we get today. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. Anyway, so I'm sorry if there's splicing or if there's duplication of stuff. I'm going to try and recreate what I did earlier, and then I'm going to splice it together with the end parts of the show, and we'll go from there. I think I jinxed myself because in the first part I said, oh, I have a wonderful show, and now it's all scrapped. Anyway, welcome to the show. Hopefully this will work and we'll be fine. Like I said, I don't know what the deal is because the video plays, but for whatever reason, it's not working. So, so let me start off by saying that I got my iPhone yesterday, and I love it. This is my very first iPhone, and I stalked my UPS guy when he was delivering things, delivering them yesterday, and I got it, I guess, about 10:30 or so. So I played with it a lot yesterday, and I uploaded all my apps and my music and all of that, and now I'm just downloading more and more and more apps. It's going to be never ending, I think. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to know what your favorite smartphone apps are, because I'm always finding new ones, and you know, people are telling me about apps, so I'd like to know what your favorite apps are, and any other cool features that you know of on the iPhone. And the cool feature that I have to show you is the thing about the multitasking. Now, I've had a iPod Touch for a while, you know, but I had no idea how to get back from, you know, I'm reading an email and then I go to a link in an email and I end up in Safari, and then to go back to the email, I had no idea how that worked. And I found out today how it worked. And how that is let's say you're in an app. Let's say I'm in my calendar. So I'm in my calendar, and then I exit my calendar by hitting this button to get back to my home screen. Sammy, don't touch that water. And then I go into, say, my app store. Okay, so I'm in my app store. And then I want to go back to my calendar. Well, all I would usually do was push the button, and then it would go back to the home screen, and then I would click the calendar button up here. The same icon again. But I don't have to do that. If you double click this button down here, a bar comes up at the bottom, and these are all the things that you have recently opened. Okay, see, this is what happened the first time. The cats were crazy and everything was going on, and I think today is just, maybe I should just scrap the whole podcast today and record tomorrow. Anyway, let me see if I can find a place where Sammy's not going to touch this water. No? Just sit still. So anyway, so at the bottom here is all these apps that I have that are already running, and I could just click on it and then it would take me right to my calendar. What I didn't realize that though was that when you have those things at the bottom, those are all things running in the background, and you have to close those things if you want to free up some memory. And you do that by just clicking and holding down with it, and you get the little minus, the minus sign next to it, and then you just minus them down, and you close it down. So yeah, so that was really an interesting thing I didn't know anything about. And then you can close back to the main screen. So yeah, I want to know about your favorite iPhone apps, or even Droid, because a lot of the apps that are on the Droid are also on the iPhone. So if you have a smartphone, let me know your favorite apps, and also your favorite features on your either your new iPhone 4S or a previous iPhone, because I would love to know all the neat tricks about the iPhone. Yeah, so that's the iPhone. I'm so excited. Like I said, I've been playing with it all day, and I've been loving Siri, the new personal assistant. That's just hilarious to play with. So let me jump right into my whips. It's going to be hard because, again, I've done this all before, and so I might skip over some stuff that I wanted to tell you, but I know all the other podcasters know exactly where I'm coming from, because I think almost every single podcast that I've watched has at some point had an issue and had to re-record. So this was my turn, episode 25. It'll be a memorable one for me. And so anyway, so let's jump into the whips. I don't have any finished objects. I did do a lot of knitting this week. I don't have any finished objects though, but let's start. So I'm going to start with On Point. Now, before I get started with my whips, I want to remind everybody about the Knit Your Stash challenge that I'm running on the Knitting Blooms group. And I'm very excited to see that there is, I believe, 29 people. Yeah, 29 people, including myself, that are doing the challenge. And this challenge runs between October 8th, which was last weekend, and December 31st. So, and it's all about getting 6,000 yards of your yarn, your stash, out. Either knitted, gifted, destashed, whatever. So go over to the board and check out the rules and everything. There's lots of different ways to do it. If you knit for charity, or if you knit a project for somebody to give somebody as a gift, those things you can get bonus yardage, and you get to double your yardage for those. If you destash some yarn to somebody, you can't sell it, but you can give it to them. Then you get to take that and count that towards your 6,000. Me, on the other hand, I have knitting for hire, so there's going to be knitting that I'm going to do that isn't going to count. And this first project is one of those projects. This is On Point, and this is a knitting for hire. And I'm hoping Sammy is going to sit still and not touch the yarn. Right? No touching the yarn. So this is finally looking like something. And I kind of just tucked it in my bag because I was working on it while I was trying to get the podcast uploaded. And now I have to record. Anyway, so this is finally looking like something other than just a square piece of fabric. And this is the front, and it does have, oh, now she's going to play with the needles. It does have the twist. Okay, no touching the yarn. It does have the twist in the front. Now I've lost it. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Anyway, let's see if I can hold it over here to show you. So it does have the twist in it, and I have the seams up here sewn up, and I've started the first sleeve. And see where my marker is? That's where I have been knitting since I podcasted the first time. So it's coming along. It is looking more like something other than, like I said, like a just a big square piece of fabric. I'm hoping to get the first sleeve completed by the end of this week, so I can at least get the second sleeve cast on, because I would really love to get this project done by the end of October. I knit on that project, I knit 32 yards this week. And those yards don't go towards my challenge, but I did want to keep track just so I can kind of have an idea of what I've been, how much I've knit. Okay, the next one is the sock yarn blanket. Oops, we're already avalanching. Everything's dropping. Okay, Sammy, you sit still. You're fine right there. So the next one's the sock yarn blanket. And I only knit one square on this week, but I do want to show it to you. It's nothing special, but I just want to prove that I did work on it. This is the square, the last square that I did last week. Okay, no. She's going after that water again. Ah! Okay, where was I? Somewhere I have a square. Okay, this is the square I did last week, the last square I did last week, and then this is the square that I did this week. That's the only square. Now, how I'm counting my yardage for my sock yarn blanket is I am guessing at about I'm guessing, and I probably should have given them another snack because it's now close to 6 o'clock. And I may end up having to pause and go get them a snack because it's kind of like their snack time. So maybe that's probably why they're all down here and being rambunctious. Anyway, my squares. I'm assuming that they're about 7 to 10 yards. So I'm counting 8 yards for every square that I knit. So this week on the sock yarn blanket, only 8 yards, and that's it. And I think I am going to pause one more time and give them a snack, and I will be right back to continue. Okay, hopefully now the cats will be satisfied and I can get this done. Okay, so I finished with I did the one square on my sock yarn blanket. The next project is my basic socks with Socks That Rock. And this project got no love this week. None. That's it. None. No yards. In fact, I weighed the ball and it was kind of slightly like a gram or a half a gram or something more than what I weighed them last week, so that was kind of weird. So no progress on this. They're almost ready for the heel. This one's a little bit longer than this one, than the second one. I want to say I just gotta have a little bit more before I can get to the heel, and I will be doing a short row heel when I get there. But no progress on that one, so I'll move right past that project. The next project is the more basic socks, which I did work on a tiny bit. That's these socks. And you can see, here's my stitch marker where I put it in last week after the podcast. So I did about 5 or 6 rows, and that 5 or 6 rows accounts for about 5 yards. So not that much, but some progress. I've been working on this project when Sammy comes and sits on my lap and I can't work on a bigger project or something that she might snag if I'm working on it, because she'll sometimes, like you might have seen her just a couple minutes ago, swatting at the needles or the yarn or something, and especially when I'm working on something like Bacardi or knitting for hire, I don't even want to chance the fact that she might snag something, so I just put those things away. If she snags my socks, it's usually not a big deal, and usually she'll snag the cable and mostly just pull out the needle, but that's can be easily fixed. So, but not too much progress on that. That's probably going to be a good car knitting project for when I leave to go to knitting in the mitten in 3 weeks, and so I'm very excited about that. So that's that project. The next project is the sofa saver, and I did work on this a little bit this week. Let's see here. Which way's up? Okay, so here we go. This is where I stopped last week, where that marker is. So I did a good, I don't know, 6-7 inches or so. I did make some, I put the water on the floor, and I'm tossing things on the floor, and I've got knitting bag strings in the water now. Anyway, I did make a slight change on this. I changed this, the bottom part of the sofa saver here is I did exactly how it's written for the pattern, how the pattern was written. However, I think I mentioned before that I have done a very similar pattern called the Bubble Afghan, and I wrote a pattern, and I've posted it on my blog, and I believe there's a link from my project page and stuff to the Bubble Afghan. And so just after this marker, probably about one row after, I started doing the pattern as I wrote the Bubble Afghan. And I do that with a triple crochet bubble rather than the way that it's done in the pattern for the sofa saver. And the reason that I did that was because it looks the same. I mean, if you're looking at it, can you really tell? I mean, you can tell if you look up close and you look at the bubbles, the little bobbles that they have. But when you're looking at it from farther away, I don't think that you can really tell. And for some reason, doing a triple crochet is easier to me than doing the chains. So I can whip through it a lot quicker, and I don't have to think about it too much. So I did change it. I mean, I think it makes a little bit denser of a fabric. I mean, when I look down at it from this angle, I can look at it and say, okay, this is where I changed, because it does look to be a little bit denser of a fabric. So it's right in here that I changed. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera or not, but it's all right. It's for the cats. They get to lay on it and knead in it, and they'll be perfectly happy with it. I'm not concerned that it's different for part of the project and then the rest of it. And on that project, I did I knit, or in this case crocheted, 109.5 yards. And I'm going to talk about the bear because it's in the same project bag, and hopefully I don't lose anything. So this is the next bear that I'm working on, and I did this one different. You can see there's no arms or legs. I started this bear from the top, and I cast on my stitches just like I would a sock. I cast on a few stitches less than I would have if I was doing the pattern as it was written. And I did some increases, and I think that helped to make my ears just a little bit more rounded, which I like a lot better. And then I stopped at this point because I knit down and I put some enough in there, or okay, now I can't speak. Anyway, I knit all the way down to the point where I would be separating for the legs, and then I knit the skirt, hoping that it would be a little bit easier to knit the skirt without the stuffing in it. And it was a little easier. However, knitting something with this wide of a circumference on a 32-inch needle, trying to magic loop it, not the best idea. So I did transfer to a 40-inch circular, and I was doing it magic loop. However, I think it would be a lot easier if I was using a 12 or a 16-inch needle. So I think I'm going to toss a 12 or 16-inch needle. I don't know what length I have, if I have 12 or if I have 16. But I think even 16 would be fine. I'm going to toss that into the bag so I have it readily available, so when I'm doing the skirts, I can knit them in the round as if I'm knitting a hat, because I think the stitches will move a lot easier on a circular needle that way. And plus, when I was working on this, I didn't have the stuffing, so I couldn't stuff it and do the legs and the arms, so I just left it. And that will probably get done this week. And on the bear, that I knit 106 yards on that. The next thing is the Bacardi. Oh wait, the Modified Lady Eleanor. Oh, I skipped that one. I didn't do much on this. I only did one row on this. So I finished off last week on this square right here. And then I knit one full row of blocks all the way because my yarn is on this end. So not so much progress on this. That would be 26.3 yards. And here comes Sammy back to get my water. You have food on your face. How did that get there? I'm going to see if I can hide the water back there. So, one row done on this. Not too much progress, but you'll forgive me when you see my progress on Bacardi. I hope you'll forgive me. This goes here. Okay, so Bacardi. If you saw me on Plurk earlier this week, you know that I finished the body and I did the steeking. Last week I was, actually the first part I was here, and then remember last week I had to pause, download, and then charge the camera, and then in that time frame I knit to here. So last week I was here at the end of the podcast. I finished the back. I did all the steeking, the arms, the front. I even put the button band on. And you'll see that these strings here that I have, they're from the button band. I just have to weave them in. It does need to be blocked, but I am loving this sweater. I mean, it is gorgeous. I mean, I can't say enough about this sweater. I'm so excited about getting it completed. I hope to start the arms this week. That's my plan. And I am planning on knitting them in the round, both at the same time. So I have a sleeve and a sleeve with steeks in between. We're going to see how it goes. In my mind, it works. When I actually start doing it, that could be a whole nother story. But we're going to go with it, and hopefully I will have some progress on some arms next week. On the Bacardi, I knit 173.5 yards on this. So good progress on this week. And it's nice because I'm getting ready to start another knit along, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So I talked about that one. The last project I have currently on my needles is a simple double crochet blanket. Now, I had wanted to make a shawl out of this yarn. It's fuzzy, it's acrylic, but it's so soft, and it just makes you want to just cuddle up with it, wrap it around you, and just snuggle down in and drink a cup of cocoa or whatever, hot tea or coffee or whatever. But this is what I had. This yarn is Joanne's Sensations Fever, I believe. And I'll make sure that you have all that information in the show notes or on my project page or whatever. But what I found with this yarn is that there was, at least in my experience on the very first ball, there was at least 5 knots in the first 10 yards that I pulled out of my ball. It wasn't even funny. I started the shawl. It was going to be a top-down triangular shawl with increases on the sides and in the middle. And I started the shawl. I didn't even get to row 3 on starting with a cast on of 5 stitches. I didn't get to row 3 before I had reached a knot. I broke the yarn. I started again. I knit not even 3 rows again, I found another knot. I broke the yarn, I started again. The third time, the same thing happened. I barely got to row 3 and I found another knot. And at that point I was like, okay, do I really want to deal with this yarn? I had almost got at the point where I just was done. However, it is so soft and cuddly, and the fact that I was going to give it away, but I didn't want to subject anybody to that madness. I mean, I'm the kind of knitter that does not have knots in knitting. It's when you get to a knot, you break the yarn, you leave a tail, and then you weave in the ends. But 5 knots in 10 yards? No way. So I decided, okay, I don't want to give the yarn to somebody and have them suffer through it. I don't want to just toss the yarn in the garbage. So I thought, well, I'm already making the sofa saver for the cats. Why not make another little Afghan for the cats? Because they would love this yarn. So that's what I did. I started a little simple double crochet blanket. It's 100 stitches wide. And I'm just going to stripe them because I have 10 balls of this and 8 balls of this. I figure I'll start with the green, then I'll go up and I'll end with the green. And that's what I did. And then I figured I'm just going to crochet right through the knots. If I find a knot, I'm just going to go right through it, and if it comes loose at some point, that's fine. It's just something for the cats to cuddle up with. They're going to rip it to shreds anyway, so what difference does it make? But maybe while it's still new, I can cuddle up with it, because boy, it's some soft yarn. I love it. And I really wish I could have made a nice cuddly shawl with it, but I just did not want to deal with it. So each ball has 76.5 yards in each ball, and it's going to be a small little blanket, because this piece right here, which is 100 stitches wide and about 5, maybe 6 rows. The first row I did a single crochet, and then I thought that's going to take me forever to do a single crochet Afghan, so I did make it a double crochet after that. So 5 or 6 rows, and it didn't take that long, obviously. If you crochet, you know how quick crochet goes. So I'm expecting this to be a quick project, which means I can get, I think it's like 1,200 yards out of my stash that quick, because like I said, I have 10 of one and 8 of the other. So that's my new project that's on the needles. I have plans to start a few more projects in the next few weeks. The first one is the Citron shawl that I will be knitting with the Dramatic Knits group and their podcast. They're doing a knit along, and I will be using Malabrigo lace, and that's what the pattern calls for. I had this in my stash. It calls for 1 ball. I have 2, so I'm going to do some additional repeats to make it a little larger. And it is in, I forget the colorway, but it is the baby lace merino. And so that's going to get started. I am going to use my signature needles. They're right here. I wanted to start this project yesterday, but after getting my iPhone, I was just way too busy playing. So I didn't start it, but I hope to start it this weekend and make some decent progress on it this week. So that's going to be the next project I'm going to start. And then, and again, I pulled all this stuff out. The first time I forgot to pull out the yarn for this, and the second time I forgot to pull out the yarn for this. But anyway, I am going to be starting the Multnomah shawl, and I am going to use my hand spun that I finished up. The last thing that I finished up on Viola on the wheel, it was the blue and the purples that I Navajo plied. So this pattern calls for, I think, about 420 yards or something thereabout. Yeah, 412 yards. And I think I have close to 440, so I think I'll be good with that. So this will be my next project. one of my next projects that's coming up. Again, this one I think I'm going to start so I can work on it as car knitting when I go to Knitting in the Mitten, because I will be a passenger and hopefully that'll give me a good couple of hours of knitting in the car. Okay, so let's talk about the knit along that I'm going to start. And the knit along is for colorwork mittens. And my friend Valerie, she has been designing these colorwork mittens, and I saw them for the first time last weekend, and they are just absolutely gorgeous. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a knit along, and hopefully people will join in and knit some of her patterns and, you know, kind of give her some feedback so she'll keep making some new colorwork mittens, because she's got some talent, let me tell you. She's got 4 patterns, and you can knit any of the 4 patterns for the knit along. This is the pattern that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do Stinky Pink with the little skunk. He is so cute. I just think he's just adorable. And she's got some really nice, I know you're not going to be able to see it from here, but I'll have a link to the project page or her pattern. She's got some really cool twiny cast on, and the ribbing is, I don't know how she called it, like maybe a corrugated ribbing or something, I don't know, but it's got some details in it. So this particular pattern, and even some of her other ones, she's got some different techniques that you can try out and do some different things in addition to learning color work. And I just thought her patterns were so great. She said that it takes her about 10 hours or so, give or take, to knit one glove, one mitten. So I think it'll be a quick project for people to do. Now, she might be a fast knitter. I think she's a fairly fast knitter, and she's kind of like me, where when she's committed to something, she just kind of motors through it and gets it done. So I'm not saying that everybody will only take them 10 hours to knit the mitten, but it's probably going to be a fairly quick project. So now most of her patterns, or actually all of her patterns, call for volmise. And yes, I have lots of volmise. However, I have a hard time letting go of a skein to use it partially. Meaning to break the skein up to use a small bit and then to save the other part for something else. Now, to knit a shawl and have some left over and then use that for another project, that's a different story. So I think that's one of the reasons why I have collected a lot of the stash that I have over the years, because I have kind of an idea of what I want to do with it. And even if another pattern comes up that would work well for the pattern, if I have more than enough yarn and I'm going to end up with leftovers or something, I always buy more yarn for the project that's come up, because I feel like I don't want to use that yarn because I want to use it for something else. I'm going to try and get over that, but not with volmise, because that's some expensive stuff and it's hard to get. So I don't want to just be arbitrarily breaking up my skeins. So I'm going to be using palette. In fact, she gifted me this ball of palette because she had this in her stash, and I'm going to use it to do the Stinky Pink mittens. And I have some black, and yes, I ordered some more yarn from Knit Picks, so I have white coming as well. So I'm going to do it in palette just to kind of show you that you can have one end of the spectrum and the other as far as yarn goes. So that's what I'm going to use for mine. And then after I finish this, if I can finish this, because I'm going to run the knit along from November 1st to February 1st. And if I can finish this pair in a reasonable amount of time, I'm going to start another pair, and that pair is going to be the red velvet. But again, you can choose any of her 4 patterns. All of her patterns are $5 each, which is very reasonable. And she gives detailed instructions, and she's excellent. If you have a question, she's excellent about getting back to people and helping people through the issues. If there's a misunderstanding with the pattern or whatever, she's awesome about that. So yeah, so we're going to start this knit along as of November 1st, and Valerie is donating 2 patterns that I can give away. It'll be your pattern of your choice. We'll have 2 winners, and you get to choose which pattern you want of the 4 that she has. And she'll gift those patterns to you so that you can join along in the knit along. And so to enter that drawing, all you're going to do is go to the thread on the Knitting Blooms group on Ravelry and let me know the reason why you're going to join the knit along for the color mittens. Maybe it's because you love colorwork mittens and you just can't get enough and you want to make these mittens. Or maybe you've never done color work and you want to give it a try on something smaller. You didn't want to do Bacardi because it was too big, it was too intimidating. Maybe mittens are not quite as intimidating. Maybe you just want to try some new techniques, whatever. Just tell me why you want to join the knit along, and that will be your entry into the drawing to get a free pattern from Valerie for the knit along. Yes. So I'm probably at some point going to make mittens with Volmise, but I'm going to wait until I use some of it up, either in socks or whatever, and wait till I have some leftovers. So this week, we are doing the Knit Your Stash Challenge, and that's to knit 6,000 yards between now and the end of the year. And in order to do that, you have to be knitting at least 500 yards a week. And I just barely did that. Just barely. This week, I physically knit, well, I knit that's counting towards the challenge because I knit 32 yards on point, and that's not counting, but I'm keeping that as a separate tally. But the knitting that's counting towards the challenge is 505 yards, 505 and a half yards. The bear that I knit, that was 106 yards, so I get to double that. So that's another 106 yards for my charity bonus. In the second part of the show that was recorded earlier, that did get uploaded to iTunes or iMovie, you will see some major de-stash for a drawing. So watch for that at the other section. And I de-stashed between the drawings and somebody else on Ravelry who needed some of my stash for a project they were working on. She was going to pay me for it, and I said, no, I'm just going to send it to you because then I can mark it as part of my challenge and de-stash it. So my total de-stash this week was 1,694. And then I had some influx of yarn. Now I told you that I ordered some yarn from Knit Picks. That hasn't come yet. And some of that was gifted to me as well. So should I count it? I mean, I'm not going to count it towards my, if I'm knitting that yarn, towards my my totals at the end of for the challenge. But I can't, I only some of that is what I purchased, so I don't feel too bad about that. But I did have some other yarn that was also gifted to me that came this week. So I had an influx just this week, not counting the stuff that hasn't arrived yet from Knit Picks, of 631 yards. So I have more going out than coming in, but still, I should not be having any come in. But they were gifts, so I can't complain. Let me show you what I got from Diane at from the Knittables podcast. She contacted me on Ravelry earlier this week and said that she was going through her stash and she came across this yarn, and she said she just thought of me immediately. And I think you will agree when you see the colorway. This is the colorway. Is this not my colors or what? I love this yarn. And it's from Dragonfly Fibers. And the funny thing is that I visited this booth twice at Stitches. And the first time I went through, I looked at everything and I kind of got a feel for what their product was, but I didn't buy anything. because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to get. I knew I probably was going to get sock yarn, but I couldn't decide on the color. So I said, I'm just going to come back the next day and look again. Well, the next day when I came back, we're walking into the booth, and Michelle, my friend who came with me, she says, hey, isn't that the spindle that you're looking for? And sure enough, they had trindles. And I got totally distracted, didn't even look at the yarn, and bought a trindle. So I'm so excited that now I get to try the Dragonfly fibers, because I really wanted to try it. And so now I get to. And thank you, Diane. I love the yarn. It is absolutely wonderful. I can't wait to make something. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. I don't know if I'll make socks or if I'll try and make it into a shawl. It is 400 yards, so it would make a nice little shawlette or something. But I haven't really decided just yet. So, I think that's it. I know that I probably missed some things because the previous episode that I recorded was 53 plus minutes. I know I have another section of like 20 some minutes, but this is only 41, so I know I skipped over something. I don't know what it is. Maybe I won't ever figure it out. Who knows? So, I hope you guys have a great week. I'm pretty sure that's everything. The drawings to come at the end of the show in the other segment. I already did the drawing. I did it live when I did the show earlier. Hopefully that will work out. If not, I will be sitting back down here shortly and re-recording that. So we will see how that goes, and I hope you have a great week, and I hope your knitting blooms this week. I know mine will. Bye. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to mention a second ago is that I finished my first bump of the 4 Rivers yarn and fiber. This is the bobbin. This is the thickness that I'm getting. Very nice. I'm so excited. I have not started the second one yet. I did put it over by my wheel. Haven't started it yet. Hopefully this week. I'm not counting spinning on my Knit Your Stash challenge, so I haven't been pushing through that, but now that I am kind of have a baseline to go with what I've knit already and what I'm destashing, I think I'll feel a little bit more comfortable in doing some spinning this week. Are you happy now that you stole her seat? Cody kicked Sammy out. So, okay. The next thing up, I've been meaning to tell you about this for a while, and every week I keep forgetting, and things are going to start falling again, and every week I keep forgetting to bring it down. We received a donation from, and I'm going to butcher this name, and I'm very sorry, and I think it's Ilga Lay, or I'm not sure. This is, hopefully you can see that. And what it is it's a kit. This is for Knitopia, and she sent the kit, and the idea was that I would knit the project on the podcast, and then we would do some kind of a drawing or a raffle or something for the prize, for the finished project. And I got to choose the pattern, and I got to choose the yarn. So I think I'm going to have a hard time giving it away. I should have just let her pick it and be that. But I did. I picked both, and now I kind of want the project. But if we do like a raffle drawing where you have to buy tickets, then I'll just buy tickets, and then I'll have just as much a chance as everybody else. But I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. But that's what I might do, is I might do like a drawing for tickets or something. So this is the project, and it's called the Mermaid, and it's like a poncho shawl kind of thing. And I just briefly read the pattern, and I was thinking that it was some kind of circular, but it is, I think it's knit flat. And it looks very interesting, and it looks like it would be a very easy knit. However, if I work on this during the Knit Your Stash challenge, won't be counting towards my challenge, but you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. It's Fleece Artist, and let's see what's the content. It's 65% wool, 35% silk. So in this, I think it's the Sangria colorway. So pinks and oranges, very nice. And I want to say that this yarn, yep, she does send a little thing. It says these yarns are hand dyed and each skein is slightly different. To obtain even distribution of colors, work from 2 balls of yarn alternating from one ball to the other every 2 or more rows or rounds. So I don't know if I'm going to do that now that I know that this is worked flat, but we'll see. And if I do that, there's 3 balls here. And so what I think I might do is split each of these 3 balls into 2 balls and then match them up, like one of these and one of these, and then one of these and one of these, and then one of these and one of these. So I know that's probably complicated, and it probably doesn't need to be that complicated, but and really this pattern, probably you wouldn't notice that much of a difference if the I mean the colorway, the colors are the same. Now if you're knitting a sweater where you're knitting in the round or flat or whatever, you might see a slightly different variegation from one ball to the other, being that maybe one ball might have a little bit more orange or a little bit more pink or whatever. I don't think you'll notice that as much with this pattern, so we'll see. We'll see what I decide when I get around to starting it. I don't know if it's going to be right away since I'm starting the mitten knit along. Obviously it will be before Knitopia, which is in April, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So that project will be on the needles. I would guess it will be on the needles by the end of the year. Okay, so now we have a drawing. You probably are wondering why I haven't done the drawing for the Podcaster Challenge, for the Mother Bears that were knit for the group, and also the knit along. And it's not that I had forgotten, it's just that I was trying to decide what to put in the drawing, because I didn't really have any donations, and I just was trying to figure it out. So now we're going to do the drawing, and I'm going to quickly show you what those prizes are, and then we're going to do the drawing live. Hopefully it will go smoothly. But one of the prizes, and this is not the order that they're going to be given away in. I'm just going to kind of go through them. The first prize is going to be, not the first prize, but a prize is going to be the leftover of from my Podcaster Challenge. I bought 3 balls of pink and 2 balls, I forget. I think I bought 3 balls of pink and 2 balls of green. This is nice yarn, but I've made my project. I really don't think I'm going to use it again, so I'm going to give it away. I did my project with, I think it was a skein and a half, and I don't know if this is a full half a skein, but I guesstimated that I used about a half a skein. I want to say it was a skein and a half of pink and a half a skein of green. I don't remember. I'd have to check my project page, but it's 2 full skeins. It's a full skein of the pink, a full skein of the green, a partial skein of the pink, and a partial skein of the green. So you can still do a lot with this. You can do a 2 color work project, or you can do a hat of the pink and a hat of the green. I mean, there's a lot you can do. So that's one of the prizes. Then, oh, Crystal's back there. the next prize is going to be this Memories, Knit Picks Memories in Morning Glory colorway. And I had bought this a while back, and I had intended it for socks. And as you can see behind me, this whole shelf and this whole shelf is all sock yarn or fingering weight, because this whole section here, I think you can see the section here, is all my Volmise. So I think I have enough socks, enough sock yarn. So I'm trying to share the love. So this is the Knit Picks Memories, and it's 220 yards per skein, and there's 2 skeins for a pair of socks. So that will be a prize. The next one is this Rowan Summer Tweed, which is 70% silk, 30% cotton, and those are just different languages. So 70% silk and 30% cotton. Rowan Summer Tweed, and it's 118 yards, so that's one prize. And then, in honor of the holidays coming up, I am gifting this book of last minute gifts. And I have this book as well, and I like it because it tells you, it gives you projects by the approximate amount of time it takes to knit them. Now, it's all relative, because if you're an extremely fast knitter, then you could probably do some of these projects in less time than what they say. And if you're a slower knitter, it might take you a little bit longer. But I kind of like, you know, if you only have a couple hours, you could knit some washcloths, or you could knit, you know, a little kerchief scarf. So it's really a neat book. And there's lots of different things for, you know, different people. They even have a cabled purse in here too. This is my favorite little one, this one that's on the cover. A little sachet that you can use as a little purse or whatever. And I'm not sure what the pom-poms are for. I'm not sure if you gift pom-poms to people. I didn't read that part, but anyway, so yeah, washcloths. You can do big bulky washcloths or whatever. So this will be one of the prizes. And the last prize is Volmise. I was going to keep this skein when I got it. I think it was in one of the grab bags that I received. And it's not really my colors. However, I'm pretty sure that Diane from the Knittables knit a project with this yarn. I think she did. I think this was the colorway. And it looks really cool. And I've seen other people that have knit projects with this colorway, and they've looked really cool. And I thought, I'm going to keep it because I'll use it. But it's really not my colors. But it's really cool. So, I am going to gift it now. And what I'm going to do is, there were 30 people, or 30 bears that were posted in the thread on Ravelry, and there was 4 other people that posted, in fact, I probably am going to need my pen or my pencil. I'm going to write these down. What? Goodness gracious. So there was 31 people that did bears. There was 31 complete bears, and there was 4 other people that completed the podcaster knit along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my my random number generator, and look, I'm going to do a double click, and that's going to come up, and I can do multitasking. So I have 1 to 35. And I know a lot of the other podcasters usually put 2 because they're usually the first one, but how often does 1 get chosen? And if it does get chosen, I'll just choose another number. So, and in fact, I even have some completed bears, so I might have to choose another number anyway. So, I'm doing 1 to 35. The 31 for the bears that were posted, and then the next, if 32 to 35, then we're going to go to the other thread, which is the podcaster project cow. But there was one person that didn't post in the finished project thread, so if the number is 35, then it goes to her, which she posted in the just in the podcaster challenge thread. So I know what I'm doing. Anyway, okay, so the first prize is going to be the wool mice. So let me see if I have enough space here to make notes. So the wool mice is going to, and I have 1 through 35, and I'm sure you can't see that because it's so tiny. But I'm going to click generate, and it's number 15. So I'm going to the completed bears, and I'm going to look for number 15, which is on the first page. And oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go to number 15. And number 15 would be 9 grands 4 gram. And her name is, oops, Linda. So Linda, contact me. 9 grands 4 gram. And Linda, contact me. And that wool mice is going to be for you, so congratulations. So now I'm going to generate again, but first I'm going to choose the prize. The next one is going to be the Knitted Gifts, the book. So let me put that down, the book. And, oops, there we go. So I'm going to generate again, and that number is 32. So 32 is actually on the other thread, so it will be, I believe it's going to be 31, and then 32 will be the first person. So the first person is Scraps I Love, and her name is Christine. So Christine, contact me, and you have won the Knitted Gifts book. And the next prize will be the leftover of the bag that I knit. So that's the Paytons. And I'm going to click generate. And this is amazing. I'm going to redraw again, but it's at number 32 again. How can that be random? That's crazy. I'm going to generate again. 31. So that's back to the other thread. Let's go back to the other thread again. Oops, I guess I should have just backed up. So that's back to the Mother Bear thread. And number 31 was Judith, and she actually sent me her picture because she didn't know how to post it. So Judith, you are number 31, and you have won my leftover yarn from the Payton's bag, from the cable seed stitch bag. So contact me, and I will send that off to you. So good thing I posted your bear for you finally. She sent it to me, and I didn't post it for like a week. I just got busy. So, and the next prize will be for the Knit Picks memories. And I'm going to click generate, and it's number 25. Number 25 goes to, that would be number 26. Let's go back to the first page. 25 is Michelle. Mick131. So, and Michelle, I don't think you're going to be able to use this because it is wool, babe. Doesn't it say? Yeah, merino wool. Well, maybe, Michelle, I'm going to give you this instead because you will be able to use this. This is the cotton and the silk. So, Michelle, you're going to get this. This is the Rowan. So, Michelle, you're going to get the Rowan. And again, it's cotton and silk, so you can use it because I know you're allergic to wool. And the person who's going to get the memories now is going to be, generate number 6. So number 6 is number 7. Number 6 is Knitter by Nature. And Knitter by Nature is, how do you say that name? I don't even know. I'm not going to try it. It's L-A-K-S-H-M-I. I'm going to butcher it no matter what. So Knitter by Nature, you are the winner of the memories. So contact me and I will send that out to you. And obviously, if I'm going to give you a week or two to contact me, and if somebody doesn't contact me, I will definitely be in touch with you guys because you all deserve to win because you guys did a great job with the bears. I want to say there was over 200 bears that were knit during the Podcaster Challenge. I am going to open the thread back up or maybe start a new thread for bears because wouldn't it be great just to keep knitting bears and keep sending to that charity because that's just wonderful. And I thank everybody who also knit along with the project, the Podcaster Challenge project, which was the knitted cable bag. That was a lot of fun. I still have not done my lining yet, but it will be done at some point. And I think that is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're going to join me to do the knit along. Okay, so I was in the middle of recording the last segment and all of a sudden the camera stopped. And I looked around and I'm like, what was that noise? And then I realized that the battery died on the camera. So I'm just going to do the last little bit here on the computer just so I don't have to stop and recharge the battery. And I hope it's not too jiggly because I'm holding the computer on my lap. Anyway, so that is all for today. I don't know what I was talking about. I think I was just talking about the knit along. So I hope you join me for the Colorwork Mitten knit along, and it's going to be quite fun. So that is all for this week. If you have any questions, you can contact me on Ravelry. Crystal's over there playing with something now. You can contact me on Ravelry. I'm Bloomingknitter on Ravelry and Plurk, and I'm also on Google+. I can now do Plurk on my phone, and it's so fun. I could do Plurk on my phone before, but it wasn't as easy. Yeah, so that's it. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye for now.